Will over at DIY Solar Power recently gave my channel a shout out, and then gave me a challenge. He wanted me to find a failure involving lithium titanate oxide, LTO batteries. This is Stashed. I'm Pat, firefighter, mechanical engineer, and battery guy. Will did a great job talking about why seemingly safe things fail. That's what I'm all about here, mostly because it's the world firefighters live in. But I had the added benefit of working in research and development for a long time, where if it ain't failing, you ain't learning. Seriously, I loved it when my prototypes failed. Sometimes it would send me down a completely different path and open my eyes to different solutions. And that's why I'm going to spend some time talking about cheese. Because thinking about cheese is one way to analyze a failure. And it isn't because I do my best work when I'm snacking. The idea is simple. Every system has layers of protection. Think about each one of those layers as a slice of Swiss cheese. Each slice has a bunch of holes, weaknesses, failure points. Most of the time, the holes don't line up. Everything works and nothing bad happens. But every now and then, the holes line up. And when they do, you get a catastrophic outcome. Will goes through it perfectly. An LFP battery just doesn't go in a thermal runaway. That's the reality for all chemistries. A series of things have to go wrong at the same time. The BMS has to fail, maybe there's a manufacturing defect, then a cell vents, those gases have to accumulate in a confined space, an ignition source has to be present, the concentration has to hit the right window. But to answer a question that Will had, the reason you don't typically see an explosion at the cell level is because when a battery fails, inside that sealed unit, typically the off-gassing local to the cell is extremely rich. It's a rich mixture, well above the upper explosive limit. But anyway, Swiss cheese, that's just one way to look at the problem. And it's also why these events are rare for the general public. But you also have to remember, I'm talking to my people first, the public second. For a firefighter, that 1% chance of failure, it's our 100%. We see catastrophic failures daily. Now, it's time to talk a little bit about engineering. There are a bunch of different chemistries that fall under the lithium-ion umbrella. But each chemistry is a set of trade-offs. There's no perfect battery. Maybe someday, but it's unlikely. There are 6 different things engineers are looking at when selecting a battery chemistry: specific energy, specific power, safety, performance, cost, and lifespan. Pick a chemistry, any chemistry, and when you score high on one axis of this chart, you're probably giving up something somewhere else. It's kind of like rolling stats in D&D. You can't just max everything. You've only got so many points to work with. I'm just about to 75,000 subscribers. My goal is 100K this year. So if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button. Let's start with NMC, nickel manganese cobalt. High specific energy. It stores a lot of power in a small, light package. Everything else is reasonably balanced. For automakers, range is king. Consumers buy range. NMC delivers that range. That's why the US auto industry has really standardized around NMC chemistries. In the vast majority of EVs in the US, they use NMC chemistries. There are a select few models of vehicles that use LFP, lithium iron phosphate, but based on sales, it's an insignificant portion of the market. That's because LFP drops in specific energy. That's why LFP hasn't dominated the US EV market. You need a much bigger, heavier pack to match NMC's range. But look at what does improve: safety, lifespan, cost. Different applications, different priorities, different chemistries. For home and grid energy storage, it makes a lot of sense. And when you look at those markets, they are dominated by LFP chemistries. Now, lithium titanate oxide, LTO. This chemistry is a bit rough for a few different reasons. The specific energy is low. You're storing significantly less energy per kilogram compared to LFP and NMC. The cost is high. We're talking up to 4 times the cost per kilowatt hour compared to LFP. Those are just a few of the reasons this chemistry strikes out. Now, it does have a great lifespan, and from what I've seen, it is extremely stable and a safe chemistry. So for Will's challenge, I've never come across a documented thermal runaway event involving LTO. But here's the bigger question. Is it because it's safe, or is it because very few people use it? LTO is not what I'd call a consumer product. You're not buying an LTO Powerwall. There's no LTO e-bike sitting in your apartment. The applications are niche, industrial, and expensive. And that's why I don't believe there are too many DIY setups out there using LTO. Honestly, I don't even know if it's something I can easily buy in the market. So when I say I've never seen a failure, that's not the same thing as saying failures can't happen. it does mean we don't have enough data to really know for certain. So Will, to date, I haven't seen an LTO failure, but you're going to have to help me on the market here because I'm not sure if it's actually the chemistry or the sample size.